This is Grandmaster Vladimir Kramnik, one of the best player in the chess history. In year 2000, he dethroned none other than Garry Kasparov in a World Championship match, becoming the 14th World Chess Champion. Some years after the match, Kasparov said something that only emphasizes how big achievement of Kramnik it was. It was a great year for me. From 99 to the first half of 2000, I had probably the best winning streak in my career, maybe the best in the history of chess. I had the highest rating ever. I won number of tournaments, eventually all of the tournaments I played, and the quality of chess was superb. And I believed, as everybody around said, I was unbeatable. Nowadays, Kramnik is recognized by fighting against the cheating virus which is spread all around the internet. I believe that he generally acts in a good faith as the problem is huge, but he does it in a somewhat improper way. There was a loud case where among the people monitored by Kramnik was Hikaru Nakamura himself, which sparked numerous controversies. Who knows? Maybe I am also on his wanted list? I had a big pleasure to face Vladimir Kramnik on one of the Title Tuesdays, or as he likes to call it, Cheating Tuesdays, and let's have a look how the game went on. The game started with move e4, c6, d4, d5. So we have a Caro-Kann defense. I also played a Caro-Kann defense against the Gotham chess. You can see the attachment to this video in this top right corner, where Levy played the advanced variation, the third e5, but Vladimir opted for a classical one, knight d2. D takes e4, knight d4, and knight f6. Nowadays, the most popular move, since in the past, almost everyone played bishop f5, which is also a reasonable move. But knight f6 occurred in a game, knight takes f6, e takes f6. Of course, we have a doubled pawns, but we don't care about it since these pawns are pretty strong, you know? They are protected with the g7 pawn, and also they are covering some really important squares, so they are not that much weakening the position. He plays c3, logical move, making a pawn chain and also strengthening the center. Bishop d6, bishop d3, castle, knight d2, rook e8, short castle. This is all the theory. This is really a stable position for white. Knight d7. I am developing pieces. Knight g3, and I played their knight f8. It might look a little bit passive, but the idea is to cover the h7 square if white attacks it somehow. Additionally, because the bishop is attacking it right now, and also to maneuver this knight to a better position, for example to e6, from where he will attack the center. So this is really flexible option for us. Vladimir played a4. He's asking us what do we want to do, and I played the bishop c7. So I also asked him the same question. And there, Vladimir played a really interesting move, which makes a lot of sense, the move f4. What is the idea? Most probably, it is with the intention of playing f5 and limiting the possibilities of my knight. So, because of this fact, I didn't want to make him to my knight close, so I played knight g6, and he played queen h5. Because after f5, you know, I am opening my bishop, he's closing his own bishop. Probably after knight d7, I can then retreat it to d5, to e3, and we are playing chess. And he played queen h5, somehow to fix this knight on g6. Because now I can't move, probably I'm getting checkmated. So my intention was to exchange queens, and I played queen d5, which I really like, because this queen is really annoying me on this king side. So exchanging the strongest piece in the opponent's camp for me made a perfect sense. He decided to exchange it. Probably the f5 move was also okay to keep queens on the board, but as we know, Vladimir Kramnik, the Russian chess school of understanding chess, they really like to go for a really pleasant endgames where they can grind and push and push. So that's why he exchanged queens. C takes d5, f5, knight d7, and bishop f4. We can see that probably I don't have any problems in the position, but he is slightly better due, or rather thanks to a bigger amount of space he has, and also his pieces are a little bit more active. As you can see, all of my pieces are on the 8th and 7th rank, so it's not a good sign. I exchange the bishop, rook takes f4, and bishop d7, developing the last piece. Well, my intention right now is to develop the rook somewhere to a active position, or transpose the knight, what we will see in a really near future. He played a5, because now this pawn isn't attacked anymore, so it makes perfect sense. I played knight c8. I am really proud of this maneuver, because as you can see, now I even have an advantage on time. And I realized this maneuver really quickly. Knight on d6 would be perfectly placed. It will attack the center, it can maybe, and from d6 square, it can go to the king side and go to the queen side. So really flexible spot for this knight. He came back to f1, I played knight d6, so nothing interesting is happening right now. Yeah, so why am I showing you this game? Well, chess is not only about sacrificing, it's not only about giving checkmates, it is really often about strategical, some slight nuances you can check in the game. If both sides are playing accurately, it is not easy to create a checkmate ideas. It is not easy to create some outstanding attacks. Sometimes you need to do little step by step, achieving some small pluses in the positions. Probably none of the sides has any of these pluses, but we just continue the game. I played king f8 because if we are closer to the end game, we need to also keep our king closer to the center. So king f8 for me was pretty normal. He also understands this rule. He played king f2, rook takes c1, rook takes c1, and rook c8. Probably knight c4 now is somewhat a threat, attacking these two pawns. And my intention after bishop c4, is to take the knight with the take the bishop with the rook and make this rook active. He played king e3, but then I changed my mind. Probably I should go for knight c4 anyway. Play bishop c4, rook c4, and be, and just to believe my first idea, because now rook a4 could be even nice. For example, if he plays h3, I can bring my rook to his camp. Now rook is on the second file, on the second rank, which is the this is a really pure and nice position for the rook. But instead I played bishop b5, exchanging the bishops, which is also fairly fine. But well, there was nothing wrong with knight c4. He exchanged it, knight b5, king d3, rook c6, knight h5. At first glance, I didn't get this idea, because he attacks this pawn, but it is well protected. He also attacks this pawn, but it is even twice more protected. He can't cross the rook via the a file. So what was his intention? Probably we will see in the next move. He plays rook e6. I play rook a6, sorry. And knight f4. This was the move. This was the maneuver. He intends to now attack the center. So from the h5, he just didn't want to create any threat to my king. He just wanted to push my central pawn. And, I think I have to take care of it right now. I played knight 7 because after rook a5, if he grabs this pawn, look, this pawn is free. A central pawn is free, and this is also central protected pawn. This exchange, of course, is not good. If you are on white side, if you're general attacking the central pawns, it is good for you to exchange central pawns for the wing ones, because central pawns are in general more useful. So, knowing this rule, I just defended my central pawn by playing knight c7, rook a1, king e7. Now, if he allowed me to bring my king to the center, I just went for it. He plays b3, probably preparing c4. Okay, so I'm playing b6, rook e1. Of course, if he takes this pawn, this might be even an interesting idea. Sacrificing a rook, and after b takes c7, king d7, knight takes d5, hoping that he will have something for the given exchange. This pawn is free. I have to take care of it. I have to cover the c8 square all the time. And if he maybe pushes this pawn, maybe he can create something. But of course, it's very risky. You don't have to. You don't have to go for such position if you are not made to. So rook e1 is really okay. King d7. He is going out of the pin, so now he can take on b6. A takes b6. Knight h5. Attacking the pawn. Okay. Protected, knight e8. Now my knight is a little bit passive, but who knows, maybe in the future he will still jump to d6, which I mentioned in the past that it's really flexible spot for the knight. And also, I can maybe play something like rook a2, maybe something like rook a3, get into the opponent's camp and try to do something really unpleasant to him. He played rook e2, so he knew my intention. So that's why I played rook a3, I attacked this pawn, rook b2. This was also the moment of the game where I realized that I have great advantage in time. So that's why I changed my style a little bit, and I wasn't really focusing on the quality of my moves. I was just trying to play quick and unpleasant for my opponent. I played rook a1, probably for no reason, because from the first rank, I can barely attack something. But at least I played it quick, so this is important, especially in blitz games. c4, making pressure on the center. Of course, after the d takes c4, b takes c4, I am opening a file, which is totally unnecessary. So that's why I gave a check, king c3, and knight d6. Again, I can even sacrifice this pawn. I can sacrifice this pawn, but I am playing, maybe strangely, but making some threats. In blitz games, if you make some simple threats, some simple, really unpleasant for the opponent threats, he needs to steal, and every single time care about them, and he spends a little bit more time to take care about them. And if he spends time, he is going lower, lower, and lower, and you will see the game. Knight takes g7, so he accepts the free pawn. So I gave a check and took back the central pawn. I told you, it is better for us to take the central pawn for the wing one. So I was kind of happy for this exchange. He played rook c2, defending the pawn additionally. I played king d6, maybe king e5. Now the knight on g7 is stuck a little bit, strangely. King b5, d takes c4, b takes c4, king c7. Okay, protecting the pawn. I don't care about the quality. I just see that he has 7 seconds, and me almost a half a minute advantage. Maybe knight d6 check, maybe attacking this one, maybe attacking this one. Knight h5. We are not afraid, even though it is a Vladimir Kramnik as a opponent. I give a check, king b4. Now I realize quickly that the rook is looking in front of the king, but the pawn is really disturbing me. I play king c6, knight f6, and b5. Why I didn't play b5? Most probably I was afraid of king c5. And I didn't really want to go for this endgame. I didn't really want to exchange rooks, because it would only help him to maybe, get somehow out of this sort of a attack I created on him. So I played king c6, covering the c5 square first. He took the pawn, and I played b5. Again, I am threatening to take this pawn. He also takes my pawns, and b takes c4. Well, maybe I played a little bit unconsciously, because now he's pawn up. He has passer on the h file, but the pawn is on h2. So right now he can't really make anything particular with this pawn. My pawn is on c4. A lot of my pieces if not every of my piece, is on the queen side. And majority of his pieces are also on the queen side. So I knew that I need to focus on that part of the chessboard. It doesn't mean that I have to, discard the left side, the king side. But the whole thing, the whole scenario will happen just on the on the queen side. He played knight g5. I played king d5, centralizing the king, protecting this pawn once more. Knight f3. He attacked my rook. Okay, get back with it. He gave me a check. Okay, go back. And he played h4. So finally, he wants to make something special with his passer. And I don't know, would you believe me or not, but the game ended in one move. Can you spot maybe the tactics? Rook is looking in front of the king. I have also the knight, which may hint us, oh, maybe some fork ideas? What kind of tactics you can use there? Well, first of all, you consider checks. As you know, the SBA rule from my chess puzzle guides. The only check in this position is c3, right? I am attacking the rook and also checking the king. If the king takes on c3, I give a check on e4, king d3, knight d2, king d2, and the position is still equal. He is 3 pawns and knight against my rook and the pawn. So if we sum up the quantity of these pieces, both sides have 6 points, so the position is equal. I can't take the pawn because, oops, fork. We don't want to allow the forks. But it didn't really matter. After c3, Vladimir Kramnik just lost on time. Okay, good for us. Maybe if he, of course, if he protects from the check by covering the fourth file, I just go forward, rook takes f4, and c1 queen. The game is over. The game wasn't really spectacular at all, yeah? As you could follow the bar during the whole game, it was around equal all the time, right? So nothing really spectacular happened. But Vladimir Kramnik, former world champion. It is pretty cool to play black pieces and to don't give him any great chance to prove that he will win somewhere. I am really proud of this game, even though nothing particular happened. I am proud that I could win and could put really great resistance against the 14th world chess champion.